So what's the function of a mast cell? No.
They secrete histamine,
They
produce,
secrete
will produce histamine.
so they secrete histamines. Histamine is a type of thing, not necessarily a thing, but a type of thing. Right? So it's a type of substance that it actually produces, right? So it produces histamines, right? So the mast cells, right, are a type of our leukocytes, right? That would actually be there for particular reactions, right? For particular immune responses, especially when it's allergic or inflammatory, right? So usually, in the case of allergens, our mast cells would be the primary ones that will flame up, and also we have the inflammation there specifically, right? So they're found throughout the entire body in mucosal membranes as well, right? So when you breathe in different types of allergens and your nose gets stuffy and it starts to get inflamed, the mast cells are contributing to that, right? We're looking at those type of things, right? They're found all over. So the allergic reactions, right? The mast cells are key players in this immediate hypersensitivity, right? So they are key players to our allergic responses, right? So they have a high affinity for immunoglobulin E, right? So usually, right, the exposure of an allergen, right, immunoglobulin E will be bounded to the mast cells, right? So because the allergen enters, that is the immunoglobulin, right, that will be bound to the mast cell and cause the mast cells to now produce these different histamines and cause the inflammatory response via activation and degranulation, right? So let's look at this, right? Degranulation, right, really occurs after an antigen which is usually an allergen attaches to it. So degranulation is the process by which the granules within the mast cells, which are granulocytes, right, will be actually produced, right, and released. So they contain various inflammatory mediators such as heparine, cytokines, proteases, all of these different things, and they will eject them into the granulation, via granulation into the intercellular space, right? This release would create a rapid response, right, to allergens, pathogens, and any type of injury. So it's a rapid response being created, and it causes inflammation, right? So it causes that complete inflammation of the area. So here, right, if we have a cut or anything like that, the mast cells will start to produce the different histamines, right? So histamine is there, and it causes the entire inflammatory response, right? So it causes the swelling and vasodilation, right, etc., to occur, right? So the mast cells are involved in the tissue repair as well. So they help by releasing different types of factors and enzymes that help with wound healing and remodeling all the tissues to what they were before. So they help in that, right? So the initiation and propagation of the inflammatory responses, right, is one of the major contributions of the mast cell, right? With the histamine production now, we're looking at this a biogenic amine that plays a crucial role in the immune responses, particularly in allergic reactions and regulation of physiological functions in the gut and in the brain, right? So it's stored in high concentrations within the granules of our basophils and our mast cells, right? Upon activation, they will be ejected into the extracellular space via degranulation of the mast cell, all right? So we have that there. We know the general functions well. We know it's there for vasodilation, increased vascular permeability, right? So it increases the permeability of the different capillaries, right? To allow for more phagocytes and more immune cells to move quickly throughout the membranes, right? To reach the area, right? It results in redness and fevers and swelling and those type of things that will allow for proteins, right? Well, that will allow for immune cells and proteins to access infected areas, right, faster, right? So it creates the rate of certain types of reactions as well and produces suitable temperature for some proteins, right? So histamines, right? Can also create smooth muscle contraction, right? Especially within the gastrointestinal tract, etc. And what we generally have is it can lead to the smooth muscle contraction can lead to bronchoconstriction, or what we call asthma. So usually, right, when these different things and allergens are going to be present within the air itself or within the environment, right, the mast cells will act up and actually cause a lot of problems for persons who are asthmatic, because it will cause further constriction of the smooth muscles, right, that will cause respiratory issues within asthmatic patients, right. We also have histamines that would stimulate nerve endings, so they cause the itching and the pain, right, of different types of allergic symptoms, right, and them itself will actually also cause the secretion of gastric acid into the stomach. So stomach aches could also be an issue there. So this is why we usually use antihistamines and those type of things when we're looking at persons who have a what's overreaction, right, to different types of substances or allergens, right. So we have that there. Okay. So the complement system, right? We're asked to look at the complement system, and it is important to note that the complements specifically, right, are part of our general innate immune system, right? So they're generally a series of proteins that work together to fight infections by enhancing, or what we call complementing, the ability of antibodies and phagocytic cells, right, to clear pathogens. So they enhance the function, right, of our antibodies and our phagocytes, right? We have different pathways, but I won't go into the pathways specifically. The function generally, right? The complement proteins coat the surface of different pathogens, right? Making them easily recognizable to phagocytes, right? They also help in chemotaxis. So the complement fragments, right? Can actually be agents of chemotaxis, right? Or chemotactic agents, right? And they will attract phagocytes to sites of infection, right? They also can help in cell lysis, in which they would bind to membrane attack complexes, right, on the pathogen membranes, leading to the lysis, right, and death of the pathogen. So they can actually defeat pathogens themselves, right? These different proteins, and we also have the inflammatory response, right? So they also aid the mast cells in their inflammatory response, right? So that's generally like the mast cell function, how the mast cells work, right, and how they do this through granulation, how histamines work, as well as the complement system, right? So the system of complements that exist